Hi everybody, welcome to this introduction to inheritance. This video is going to go over some of the key concepts which are presented in this webpage on Mr. Musi, which describes inheritance in Python. So I fully recommend that you look through this webpage and try to determine what the heck is going on. And this video will supplement this information. And of course, I encourage you to go out onto the internet and do your own research on inheritance if something isn't making sense. So let's get started with some code. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a class called bear, and I'm going to define the constructor method of the bear class. Let's say that every bear has a name. And we will assign that parameter that's coming into the constructor method to a private class variable called name. Okay? And in the bear class, let's also define a method called getName, which will allow us to look at that private variable. So hopefully you guys are familiar with how to design a class, how to design a constructor method, how to design other methods within the class. Now let's quickly design a main program which will construct a bear object. So B is a reference variable which references a digital object. And the object that we're constructing is a bear object. And let's give him the parameter that it expects. This is this thing here. So we'll send that into the object when we construct it. And let's print B, which is our reference variable, to the bear object, which allows us to communicate with bear class methods. There's one. So B can communicate with these class methods now. So b.getName. Okay, so this is my main program. Let's run it and see if it works. Brilliant. Okay, so it's working fine. Now then, let's extend this idea. I'm just going to delete my main program for a moment. Not only do we have a bear in, let's say it's in the zoo. In the zoo, we also have an eagle. So I'm going to show you something kind of weird, or maybe obvious, I'm not sure. The eagle class is really just the same as the bear class. Every eagle has a name, and we're also going to design a getName method for that attribute within the eagle class. So they're the same. And let's just do one more. Let's say we've got the hippo. So, wow, interesting. All of these classes are the same. Now, let's imagine that we've decided that every zoo animal also has an age. So look what I'm going to have to do now. I'm going to have to go into my design. I'm going to have to update the constructor method of all of these classes. Luckily, I've only got 3 of them, or I'm going to be here all day. Oh, but I've got to edit all of these classes. This is going to take a bit of time, guys. Just please be patient with me. And we need to make a getAge accessor method as well. So let's just quickly see if we can do that. Oh, this is taking ages. Oh, I give up. It's just taking too long. So fortunately for us, within the object-oriented programming paradigm, there is a concept called inheritance. And inheritance is going to allow us to quickly design similar objects. And in this example, we're designing zoo animals, which are very similar. Every zoo animal has a name and an age. So let's start again with this problem. And this time, we're going to design the overall design of what I'm going to call a zoo animal. So every zoo animal has, as we've just discovered, if I can learn to type, a name and an age. And we're going to say self._name equals name and self._age equals age. And we're going to define an accessor method for name. And we're going to design an accessor method for age. So we can just copy and paste that, I suppose. A little bit of indenting issues. Okay, and let's just do one more set method for age, because the age might change. So let's just set that up. Self.__, what did I call it? I called it age. Will be assigned this parameter here, which I've called new age. So here we've got the definition of every zoo animal in the zoo. Okay. Now what we're going to do is design individual zoo animals. So we're going to start with the bear class. Now I'm going to tell you that every bear is a zoo animal. Now this is inheritance. Zoo animal is going to be considered as the superclass, and bear is going to be considered as the subclass. And bear is going to inherit all of the attributes and methods of the superclass. It will inherit all of this information. So lucky bear class, that simplifies things a little bit. Let's see how it simplifies things. I'm going to design the constructor method of the bear class. Now remember, every bear has a name and an age. But we are not going to store this information within the bear object part of the design. We're actually going to send this information into the superclass's constructor method, and it will store the data. Okay? So the way to do that is to call the constructor method of the superclass. That's what we're doing here. And we're going to send it the data that was sent to the bear on construction. So we're just going to pass this data on to this constructor method of the superclass, and it will store the data for us. That's happening there. So lucky us, we don't have to do anything in the bear class except pass the data on to the superclass. So that's what we've done there. In the constructor method of the bear class, we're just going to say, hey, superclass, wake up, could you just take care of this data for us? Now, do we need to design the getName, getAge, and setAge methods within the bear class? Do we need to redesign those methods? They're the same. Nothing's different. The answer is no, we don't. The bear class inherits these methods from the superclass. So let's quickly do exactly the same thing for our eagle and our hippo. These are all zoo animals. And now let's create a main program and see what's going on. So I'm going to construct a bear. I'm going to call it Blue. And I'm going to print b.getName. Now remember, b points to a bear object, so we're looking at this class. It sends it a name. Oh, and we need an age as well, don't we? There are two parameters now, a name and an age. So let's give it 2 years old. Baloo is 2. Okay, so we send that data into the constructor method, and the constructor method says, hey, superclass, could you take care of that for me, please? And the superclass takes it and stores it. Okay. Now, b.getName, we go into the bear class, we look for the getName method. We can't find it. There is no getName method. But what happens then is Python realizes that a bear is a zoo animal, so it goes to the zoo animal class next, and it looks for the getName method, and it finds it. So first it will look in the bear class for any methods that we call, and if it can't find it, it's going to go into the zoo animal class, the superclass, to look. Okay, and we'll be talking more about this later in the course when we study polymorphism. So let's run this program and see what we get. What have we got here? Return self. I've done the same. I've done that. What am I doing? Self dot age. Self dot. How many years of programming experience do I have? So it works. All of this works. Now let's just check some other things. I'm going to construct an eagle called Ernie, who's 16 years old. He's an old eagle. We're going to call the setAge method because today is Ernie's birthday. Today Ernie is 17, so let's just set Ernie's age. Remember, E is a reference to an eagle object. Let's go into the eagle class. Is there a setAge method? No. Let's go into the superclass. Is there a setAge method? Yes. So the eagle class inherits these methods from the zooAnimal class. And let's print the result. Let's just make a sentence. Ernie is years old today. So hopefully now we have a sentence with the data coming back from the getAge method. Okay, let's run that and see what happens. Boom! Any age is not defined. That's in the setAge method, isn't it? There we go. Let's run it again. We're just about to run out of time on this video. Boom! So when we constructed Ernie, we gave him an age of 16. We then changed his age to 17, and that's what is currently stored in the eagle object. All right, guys, that's an introduction to inheritance. I'm just going to tell you one more thing before we switch off. You can also, instead of typing zoo animal here, you can use the keyword super. And if you use the keyword super to call the superclass's constructor method, you don't need to use the self keyword. Okay, so let's construct a bear like we did here and just see if that works. That's another way to... There you go, it works. So you can use the super keyword to call the superclass's constructor method, but you'll have to remember you don't need to use the self keyword for that. All right, let's get started with inheritance.